extra virgin olive oils to white balsamic vinegars, they're your go-to since 2009. Family owned and proud. Visit them at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis or explore their offerings at vinaigrettemn.com. Elevate your taste with Vinaigrette.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. In the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the nighttime hours, 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Wednesday. Jeff Stein going to join us here in a little less than a half an hour. And I've got to start off with something which, you knew this was going to be bad. You knew this was going to be bad. I mean, for goodness sakes, I'll get to, the insanely disastrous decision about what you're doing with the Department of Defense with Pete Hegseth in a second. But I'm going to say this, as bad as a Fox News host running the Department of Defense is, there is a worse choice to run the Attorney General's office. And Donald Trump has announced his Attorney General candidate for the United States. This is not the Onion. Do not drive off the road. If you're listening to me in the car, do not drive off the road. Matt Gaetz. Yeah, that Matt Gaetz. Mr. Underage Girls, man. Cool. Him, that guy, as the Attorney General of the United States of America. That guy. I joke you not, there is this wave going on with the Alpha Bros on social media right now where they want the United States to consider basically a 2 strikes and you're out thing when it comes to sexual assault. Basically, the Alpha Bros, now that Trump is in power, think that we should have a rule that says you can sexually assault one girl and it's not going to really be that bad for you. We'll let you go. It's a mulligan. But if you do it twice, well, then you're in trouble. And I joke you not, this is something that is being pushed by Alpha Bros, that there should be a grace period on sexual assault of women, that you should be, as a white man in America, you should be able to rape a woman. And, well, that's your freebie. Don't do it again. Seriously. You can't take that stuff seriously. And then you see who he's announcing as his Attorney General choice. Trump confirmed the selection in a statement posted to Truth Social today. It is my great honor to announce that Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida is hereby nominated to be the Attorney General of the United States. I can't swear. We've checked the FCC rules. I still can't, right? I can't just start whipping out the Effenheimers, can I?
That's about my reaction when you told me before the show who had just been nominated as AG. Yeah.
Because I was a little, I thought it was an Onion headline. I swear to God, I thought this was an Onion headline. I said, wait a second. That's not the Onion. Holy God. The president-elect called Gaetz a deeply gifted and tenacious attorney. Jesus, talk about, wow. Few issues in America are more important than ending the partisan weaponization of our justice system. Matt will end weaponized government, protect our borders, dismantle criminal organizations, restore America's badly shattered faith and confidence in the Justice Department, as he turns the Justice Department as a weapon against anyone that gets in their way. Let's make sure they left that little part out. They say they're getting rid of weaponization. They're about to ramp up the Justice Department weaponization department to the 20th degree. Let's just be honest. The Department of Justice previously investigated Gaetz for alleged sex trafficking. He wasn't charged, but the Health Ethics Committee is also an ongoing investigation into Gaetz related to sexual misconduct. I want to make sure, I guarantee you some senator is going to bring this up at his confirmation hearing, and it's going to be fascinating to watch the Republicans circle the wagons and say, oh, wait a second there. How dare you bring up the fairly somewhat believable allegations of child sex trafficking, or not child, just alleged sex trafficking. it makes you wonder, are they actually going to try to do that? The same Republicans who said, I will be a protector to all women. Is the Trump administration going to go down this alpha bro rabbit hole in regards to that men can rape one woman and then after that, then they'll be in trouble? Holy God. Holy God. The incompetency continues here. Tulsi Gabbard is going to run the National Intelligence Department. This is a woman who is in cahoots with the Russians. I want to repeat that. This is a woman who worked with the Russians, is in their back pocket, and we're putting them in charge of national intelligence. She's grossly unqualified, and frankly, I think Tulsi Gabbard's a traitor to the country. Unbelievable. This on the heels of last night's announcement that Pete Hegseth, the biggest doorknob I can think of on Fox News, a man who is so grossly unqualified to run the Department of Defense. It's not, I mean, as a veteran myself, I mean, this is an insult. This is a man who begged Donald Trump to pardon a soldier who was convicted of posing with a dead Iraqi. And in the investigation of that was discovered that he, without cause, gunned down an Iraqi child and an elderly Iraqi man. Those are undeniable facts. He was convicted and put in jail, and Hegseth went out there and campaigned for a pardon, which this guy got. That guy is going to be in charge of the Department of Defense. Wow. And I've also made this point. Okay, so you've got somebody who clearly is incompetent, and let's just go with the whole thing here. Everyone they're announcing here is grossly incompetent. Why are they doing this? Why are they putting people who you would never imagine putting in power here? They're putting in people who are just going to be yes men for Trump. He doesn't want any pushback. He doesn't want any complaints. This is Project 2025 being unfolded in front of our eyes. And so they're basically putting figureheads into these positions as people behind the scenes will actually be making all the decisions. Yep. I want to repeat, Matt Gaetz has been nominated for the Attorney General's position. Well, he's not really going to do that, said all Trump voters. Unbelievable. Hegseth as well, and I want to bring two separate Trump stories in together. The second one is about them apparently putting together a tribunal to weed out bad generals. I want to just stop right there. Do you know how long and hard generals serve in our military to become a general? That this is not something that's just handed out. This isn't like a manager at a McDonald's then just, becomes, just because of seniority becomes like a regional manager or something like this. No. These are people that generally have shown exceptional leadership skills in the field of the military: Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, Army. Space Force. Sure, why not? I'll throw it in there. But you've got these people who are there. They want to weed them out because why? When they say they want to do something, they don't want generals who are basically going to say, no, the Constitution says we probably shouldn't be doing that. That's a reality. What they are going to do, and I want to make sure we understand why Pete Hegseth and this general commission they're going to convene, what they want to do. There's two things, without a doubt. I think when you look at Hegseth being nominated, when you look at this purging of the generals, there are two things which undoubtedly the United States is about to do. First of all is invade Iran. Now, this is, I have talked about this before. Forgive me if in Minneapolis, St. Paul, if I've said this. Chicago, in case you haven't heard this, or Seattle, you haven't heard this. Here's the deal. I was in the military. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army. Back even when I was in, one of the things that was pretty clear is that Iran has been waiting for a invasion and attack now for 40, 45 years. And sure, you can nuke them, but that's a quick way to turn most of the world against you by dropping nukes on a country, killing 100,000, 200,000 people just because you don't want to invade them. You are going to have to send in a massive ground force, which we don't have the personnel in the military, which means we're going to have a draft. It's going to be a draft into an ugly situation where they have been waiting for us to try to do this for a long time. And sure, their planes can blow up stuff from the sky. They've buried most of their military infrastructure so deep that you're not going to be able to get at them. You're going to have to do this, hand to hand on the ground. You're not going to be able to drone your way through there, which means a draft. And the reason why they're doing this is because Benjamin Netanyahu, he knows it is suicide for his military to try to basically take on Iran by themselves. So what he's doing is he's going to get the United States to go and fight Iran for him so he can step over all the American dead bodies and plant his flag and say, I did it, in the middle of Tehran. He is more than happy to sacrifice your son or daughter for his cause. How noble of him. That's one thing they're going to do. The next thing I'm convinced of at this point, they're going to turn the military on American citizens. They're going to turn the military on American citizens. This is somewhat, it's terrifying. I mean, I just, for lack of a better way to say it, it's terrifying to think about that. It's terrifying to think about the idea that this is going to happen. But this is what he needs to get generals that are going to protest this. He needs to put some guy like Pete Hegseth, who probably relishes at the idea of sending troops into a major metro area to start firing on the civilians. That's what's going to happen. So those two things, I want to make sure you understand what Pete Hegseth and the generals, what this whole thing is about. It's about invading Iran, and it's about basically sending the U.S. forces in to start shooting in American cities to go get those liberals because they can't win elections. So we'll just kill off all the city council members and mayors in these big metro areas, install a bunch of hardcore right-wing guys, and then no one will have a problem with that. Hegseth is there because when the trials start, that's the guy they're going to point to. Terrifying. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, AM 950. This is JP Debragosian, host of The Gaily Show and The Square Book Saved My Life, airing every Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. Instead of talking about queer happenings around town, I wanted to take a moment to share some support resources as we are reacting to this devastating election. If you are a queer person or if you have a queer loved one in your life, there are a lot of emotions happening right now: anxiety, fear, depression, anger, and more. This is not an exhaustive list of resources, but a few that can help not only process the election, but to help support you for the next 4 years. The Minnesota LGBTQ Therapist Network is an amazing resource. I have used it myself to find a life-changing therapist who has helped me so much. You can look up providers not just on whether they accept your insurance or not, but based on your identity, however you identify within the rainbow. You can then see the results for therapists who specialize in serving you and who may identify the same as well. Their website is lgbttherapist.org. If you own a queer business, connect with Twin Cities Quorum, our award-winning LGBTQ+ and allied Chamber of Commerce. Their website is twincitiesquorum.com. That's QUORUM. There is the new LGBTQ Resource Center that is open 7 days a week, Queermunity. Find out about their events and all their daily resources at queermunitymn.com. Family Tree Clinic is a reproductive and sexual health clinic who offers trans hormone care, PrEP, and more healthcare services. Their website is familytreeclinic.org. Coming up this Saturday at 2 p.m. on This Queer Book Saved My Life, my guest will be Chris Tompkins, and we'll be talking about a book that has special significance for myself, The Velvet Rage by Alan Downs. After that, on The Gaily Show, Kathy Renna from the National LGBTQ Task Force will join me to talk about the election and the upcoming Creating Change conference. And Nicole Zelniker will be here to talk about her new book, From Where We Are. See you this Saturday at 2 p.m. Until then, enjoy this hour of The Matt McNeil Show.
Crooner's Supper Club invites you to enjoy drinks, a delicious dinner, and live music from both big-name local and national artists in a wide array of styles. Before or after your show, check out the new Maggie's Lounge, a perfect spot to visit with friends. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 with cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. Crooner's Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65. A little piece of old school nightlife in the 21st century.
Hi, it's Angela Warner from Warner Stellian, and if you're like me, you've got a dozen things in your online shopping cart you're just waiting to buy. What if the price goes lower, or shouldn't I wait till Black Friday? Stop waiting. At Warner Stellian, we've got guaranteed Black Friday prices now. They won't go lower. So replace that almost broken dishwasher with free installation on select models, or upgrade to a bigger fridge with an exclusive $200 bonus and a faster stove for the holidays. Shop Black Friday prices now, guaranteed at warnerstellian.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Good to have you with us today. 952-946-6205. Unbelievable. And by the way, John Thune is going to be the Senate Majority Leader. That's the new guy. That's the one race that happened there. Before I get into this Axios story in a second here, but before I get into that, I want to say this. As I say all this stuff about, I think the military he's going to order the military to open fire on American citizens. I think that he is going to invade Iran. He's putting freaking Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General, for God's sakes, just to weaponize the Department of the Department of Justice. It's terrifying what is going on right now, and what has happened is happened. You can't stop this. You cannot stop this. But what I'm saying is this: we've had a week now. I need you to basically start waking up. I need you to get out of the freaking fetal position and get out and start getting angry and start getting mad, because the only hope that we have is that these House members, and especially wherever you're at, there's some Republican House members nearby you, that they know that we are paying attention and we're watching, and that a freaking TikTok video or an episode of Dancing with the Stars or something like that is not going to deter us from voting in the future. I get it. You sat out. And we can talk about the pile of ideas problem that the Democrats have. But sweet Jesus, is this going to turn into a freaking nightmare? Now, here's what I'm going to say. I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down. I would like for you to get in touch, be in touch with me. If you're feeling down, you want to you want to scream, whatever. You can get in touch over on Threads under Matthew McNeil 1 there. Matt McNeil Show on Blue Sky. Matt McNeil Show, Progressive Citizen X on Facebook. And Matt McNeil Show on Mastodon. Find me, stay in touch, start getting connected. Because the reality is 48% of this country did not vote for Donald Trump. And 120 million people did not even vote. The vast majority of people are on our side. And this is going to get terrifying. It is. Jason Hegseth and Matt Gaetz. Wow. In the, hey, great job, Axios. You dumb jackasses could have put this story out 3 weeks ago. Axios now decided, since the election's over, hey, what would happen if we got rid of the Department of Education? Yeah, great job, Axios, you freaking idiots. President-elect Trump has repeatedly pledged, I'm serious, they printed this article today, a week after the election. Didn't do it before the election. They did it today. Axios, come on, man. President-elect Trump was repeatedly pledged to dismantle the Department of Education, a decision that could radically reshape learning across America. The Department of Education has been a punching bag for Republicans for decades. Representative Todd McMassey, a Republican from Kentucky, said last year, unelected bureaucrats in D.C. should not be in charge of the children's intellectual and moral development. Elon Musk, one of President Trump's most influential backers, posted a video to X Monday saying that Trump boasting about closing the department and sending all education matters back to the states. The official platform for the GOP called for the removal of the Department of Education. So you'd think they would probably want to know what that is. It's not impossible for Trump to get rid of it, but he's got a very thin margin here. Eliminating the department would require congressional action, likely including a supermajority of 60 votes in the Senate. I don't think so. They're going to get rid of the filibuster so they can ram things through. But in the House, 60 Republicans joined the Democrats opposing it. Now, you're not going to need more than probably 4 or 5 Republicans to basically say, no, I don't want to get rid of the Department of Education. But there might be some threats going down on these people that, is there. I still think he's probably going to get rid of it. The Department of Education budget funds a variety of programs to help students obtain quality education. The department funds Title I of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, would provide supplemental funding to high poverty K-12 school districts. They don't want that to happen anymore, so they get rid of that. Head Start programs provide vital child care services for many low-income and rural communities across the country. They'll get rid of that. The department also administers Pell Grants, which help low-income students attend college. They're going to get rid of that. There's a wealthy white man that needs that money. The Office of Special Education Programs provides resources to support students with disabilities through the age of 21. The department also collects national data on schools and enforces federal civil rights laws to prohibit discrimination. If the department is eliminated, Project 2025, called for the allies have touted in the incoming administration agenda, outlines plans to abolish it. Instead, Project 2025 calls for a redistributing of various federal election programs across government while eliminating others or transferring them to the states. For instance, it calls for management of Title I to be transferred to the Department of Health and Human Services. The Department's Civil Rights Office would join the Treasury Justice Department, and the Treasury Department would manage student loans and collecting and defaults. These changes, from shifting programs across agencies, shuffling staff, or losing experts in the field, could mean chaos ahead. When federal government programs are chaotic, it's going to be disproportionately harm working class families. While Trump has repeatedly railed against the Biden administration's student debt forgiveness efforts, Project 2025 takes aim at the federal government's role in student loan lenders. So basically, it's all going to be private loans from this point forward. Project 2025 says income-driven repayment plans have proliferated beyond reason, and that a new plan should be instituted that requires payments equal to 10% of borrower's income for those earning above the poverty line. So basically, I guess you don't need to get a house, rent a house or get a car or food or anything like that. So basically, they're getting rid of the interest only, basically the primary interest repayment plans, which are basically a bellwether of student loans. They're going to get rid of those. It also calls for returning the system where private lenders offer student loans. Private loans typically come with higher interest rates than federal loans. So basically, it's, there's not going to be any cheap loans. There are also concerns about the administration can narrow the scope of loans available to help students attain higher education, like eliminating the Parent Plus loans for undergraduates and graduate students, plus loans, both of which Project 2025 called for the removal of. These changes could profoundly change the American education system. For one, it will decimate the professional education bureaucracy as Trump replaces career experts in their fields with political appointees. Even the Department of Education is left intact. Changes are likely as the Trump administration is unlikely to continue the Biden administration's effort for LGBTQ plus and gender equality protections and forgive student debt. The Trump administration could also transfer responsibility for accrediting universities and colleges to states. That could see an accreditation being used as a lever to discourage schools from pursuing diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and affirmative action programs. So no, this is going to annihilate a good chunk of the Department of Quality Education, affordable quality education. Looking at Project 2025, the programs that are supported trans students and support low-income students, that support racially minoritized students. These are going to be the ones that are the most threatened. Absolutely. Absolutely. We knew what he was going to do. We knew what he was going to do. And yeah, you are going to see, I'm going to just make this call right now, especially not in the suburbs, because they don't want to ever turn off the suburban voters, But in rural America, you're about to see a third of your schools close. That's my conservative estimate, at least a third. Jeff Stein joins us when we come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about the joy of live fire cooking. Cooking over a live fire is the oldest and most basic form of cooking.
What's new is in the way fire is handled and its heat is managed.
It's easier to experience and enjoy the smell and taste of food cooked over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs live fire grills, fire pits, and ovens. Let us help you experience the smell, the taste, the fun of cooking with fire.
Pizza was first made and is still best made in an open fire oven. The radiant and conductive heat of a live fire is unmatched for wood roasting and baking artisan breads too.
Come see the many ways you can cook over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Come see the trained chimp. It's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. weekday afternoons, right here on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is Andy Otto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we discuss heading out of this election season and how it's impacting our community. There are ways for us to get connected, get involved, and build community right here in Minnesota, and Twin Cities Pride is here to help. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
It's been a while since I explained this, but a Toyota from Rudy Luther Toyota will always be in my driveway. 2 years ago, a drunk driver slammed into my Toyota Sienna. In most vehicles, I wouldn't be here today, but my Toyota Sienna kept me safe. It was designed for safety, something I saw firsthand. I have no problem telling you, if you want a vehicle that will keep you and your family safe on the road, Toyota is the way to go. I'm partial to the Sienna, but all their vehicles are fantastic. Be safe, own a Toyota. Shop today at rudyluthertoyota.com or visit Rudy Luther Toyota on the corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Tom Hartman here to tell you about St. Paul-based All Energy Solar. They've been providing solar energy solutions to customers since 2009. All Energy Solar's professionals will help you through the entire process, from a free site assessment to a custom design that works for your property. Now is the time to go solar. Make a powerful investment by switching to solar energy by visiting allenergysolar.com. That's allenergysolar.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 46. Tonight, rain with a low around 40, and Thursday, cloudy with a high around 49.
Notice he announced that just as you went on the air.
Your meals with vinaigrettes, premium oils, and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to white balsamic vinegars, they're your go-to since 2009. Family owned and proud. Visit them at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis or explore their offerings at vinaigrettemn.com. Elevate your taste with vinaigrette.
Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff.
Jeff Stein's our national and presidential expert and noted author. You can find his books over at your favorite bookstore, as well as the Next Chapter Books here in the Twin Cities. His Iowa Politics Report and the Iowa Business Report come to us from KXEL in Cedar Falls, Waterloo, where Jeff, I had someone say, oh, we already know Jeff. They said, Jeff, you don't know he voted all Republican up and down the ticket. I said, you don't know Jeff Stein. My guess is just out of spite, he changed every other party on the ballot just to do that. Just because that's the kind of Jeff is. I'm fine, Republican in this one, Democrat in this one, Republican in this one. Try to paint me into a little corner, you little jerks.
Good afternoon, Matthew. It is true. I did not vote a straight ticket. I have never voted a straight ticket. And yes, some of them are out of spite, but
when you come to it, you have too many Republicans already, and there's no Democrat. It's a Green Party. Did you do the Green Party guy just to kind of change it up a little bit? A little greens for the side dish?
I did vote for, in one race, a rather important race, a candidate who was neither a Republican or a Democrat.
Oh, okay. See,
I will tell you that much.
I tell you this. All right.
And it was a major race. It was not like weed commissioner, which actually is a pretty big deal. But
God,
no. It was like mainline. No.
The water czar of your local community.
No. I looked that race up and voted for people who, but no, I did go. I went way off track on one of the key races, and I don't care. I'm just sitting here enjoying my new Blue Sky account.
Yeah, you should. And so you are, by the way, for everyone out there, because if you're abandoning Twitter like everyone is right now, he's already on Threads. You are on Threads, and now
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Threads. I'm on Blue Sky.
There you go.
I don't do the Facebook. That's more just out of, again, why I don't vote a straight ticket. So I don't have the Facebook. I have the X. But yes, I have a Blue Sky account now. So there you go.
Matt, okay. Okay. Even you have to admit.
Even you? What is this even you stuff?
Because you try your hardest to basically validate things from saying, okay, there's got to be some rational thing I'm just not seeing here. But even you've got to admit, Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General is an insanely horrific choice.
All right, so I'm sitting at home last night, and I'm watching the TV box, and I see that Mr. Trump has named Pete Hegseth to be Defense Secretary.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
And I look at that, and I thought, it's not because I had been, as the week has gone on, I'm thinking, all right, Israel has a friend again. Because that's something you and I have talked about how the current administration, and maybe your opinion is different now, but we've talked, I thought, in unison for some months.
Just one thing I want to clarify really quick.
Yeah.
Your implication by that statement is that Biden is the enemy of Israel. That's not the case.
No.
That's what I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
What you're saying is that Trump is basically a rubber stamp for Netanyahu. Biden is not nearly the rubber stamp that
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this administration has not been as strong an ally of Israel in this conflict as at one point we said we agreed on, that there had been some inconsistencies. That's not saying that there's enemies or rubber stamps or anything. I think this government, the current government, should have been a stronger ally of Israel. The picks that Trump made, I thought, okay, now that's solidifying the Israel-U.S. connection, and I'm liking that. Then I see the defense secretary pick, and I know that I'm going to be here talking to you. And I'm thinking, all right, I don't like the fact that it plays into the narrative of Trump only picks people he sees on TV, because that was the case in Trump 1.0. I thought, all right, he was a major in the Army. It's not the way I would have gone, but I could have at least given you 30 seconds, right? I got nothing with Matt Gaetz other than reward for complete, undying loyalty.
That's all these guys are. I mean, National Intelligence Agency, Pete Hegseth, all these people, you and I have been in this business way too damn long. These are just yes men because, and this goes back to the Project 2025, which they all insisted they weren't going to do. This is basically, they just want people in charge of these departments that are not going to get in the way. That's why they're going to purge these generals that might say, oh, hey, wait a second, we're not going to shoot on American citizens. They're going to get this in because they have got a very specific mindset, and they do not want anyone outside of a lapdog in charge of any of these departments.
Like I said, I had 30 seconds I could give you on Pete Hegseth. I'm not a fan of the choice, but I could have given you the 30 seconds. Tulsi Gabbard, I think more of her than you may, from what you just said. Again, Matt Gaetz is simply
she's a known Russian accomplice. So no, I think putting her in charge she's a known Russian accomplice, and putting her in charge of the National Intelligence Agency is a freaking disaster if that's the case.
If that's the case, I don't happen to agree. I also defer to your knowledge as a former military person. And again, thank you. This is Veterans Week. We need to pay appropriate homage. But Gaetz is nothing more than weaponizing the Justice Department, potentially. Okay, so here's the thing.
And that's Trump. Is there anything more Trumpian than basically saying, I'm putting this guy in who clearly, like you said, is going to weaponize the agency to get rid of weaponization of the agency? That's what his entire argument, his introduction. We're going to get rid of this as he is getting ready to go after any Democrat or people like myself who call Donald Trump a horrific human being. that's basically what they're going to do.
So I got nothing on Gates. All I can say is that Mr. Trump did you the favor of dropping the news just before the show began today, so you'd have easy show prep.
Pete Heg- well, I thought, I'm dead serious when I say this, and this is, I thought it was an Onion headline. I honestly thought that's an Onion headline. And
I'm not kidding. That's funny because I did not have control of the remote and it was going through all sorts of channels. And I said, wait a second, as it flew by Fox and it said Pete Heg, and I thought, okay, this is a stunt. It's not a stunt.
It's not. Hegseth. I want to remind you that Hegseth petitioned Trump to give a pardon to a soldier who posed with a dead body. And in the investigation of that, it was discovered that without cause, he shot and killed a girl and shot and killed an elderly man. And Pete Hegseth lobbied for that. Also, Pete Hegseth has repeatedly said that veterans should not get the benefits they have earned, as you talk about Veterans Week, that he says that veterans getting the benefits they've earned is like welfare and they should not get those benefits. That's the guy he's putting in charge. A grossly unqualified individual to run the Department of Defense. And that's the guy they're putting in there.
Now I don't know anything about his military background. I've learned more in the last 15 hours. And in seeing the shows that Fox would put him up to do, there was a lot of interviewing of veterans, homage to veterans, etc. So my first reaction was, you mean Veterans Affairs, right? You don't mean defense. But then you get the full picture and you just, amplified other things. Again, it plays into, remember when Trump picked John Bolton because he liked him on TV?
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, but that's not it. That's not the reason you pick people.
Hegseth has military experience.
Yes.
And that I will, as a veteran, I will acknowledge that myself.
Of course.
But I've got military experience and I'm nowhere near freaking qualified. And I talk to veterans all the time and I praise veterans all the time. And I've got a very good 4-step point plan for all veterans. I talk every Veterans Day. I can do this. I am grossly unqualified to be the defense secretary. Hegseth is it's clearly a yes man that's there. And I think this is, as a veteran, I'm going to tell you the two things which I'm almost confident, I can confidently say we're going to happen here, especially with this purging of the generals that they're also going to do, that they have announced that they're going to have a generals commission to get generals out of the way they don't like. That it is about, and let's go back to tying this with Israel. That Israel is not stupid enough to take on Iran by themselves. They know they can't do it because it's going to take a ground invasion. He wants Americans to go die so Benjamin Netanyahu can go plant the victory flag and say he won. So there's Iran is a ground war. The other thing is, without a doubt in my mind, he is going to turn U.S. soldiers on American citizens. And it's going to be one of those things where they insert them into their pick your favorite, villain city, San Francisco, Minneapolis, Chicago. They're going to insert them in there. And they basically want somebody that's just going to be a yes man, because let's honestly, you and I have been around this stuff long enough. I can look at Matt Gaetz, I can look at Tulsi Gabbard, I can look at Pete Hegseth, and I can see you guys are stoolies. You guys are sitting there as setup men so that when this stuff goes south, everyone's going to point to you and you're going to take the fall.
All I will say is it is hard to defend when some of these picks are made. Right? In other words, and you're right, I like to, okay, let's see if there's an upside to some of this, things I don't quite get. It's hard to defend Hegseth when you pick Gaetz, etc. Right? Now, here's something else, though. If this puts a little sunshine in your jury day, the Republicans have a history of not being able to get out of their own way.
Oh, yeah.
And look at it.
Can I clarify that for a second?
Yeah.
They basically cannot, when they finally have the ability to pull off their actual agenda looks so bad, they can't sell it any other way.
Oh, I'm not even going there yet. Yeah, I'm just going with the fact that you go back 8 years ago. Outsider Trump wins the presidency in a stunner. Republicans get the Senate and the House. And the idea is, hey, we're going to take care of it. They could not fall apart faster, right? The House couldn't get its act together. Well, it passed bills and then the Senate wouldn't do anything. And then they lost control in the midterms in this colossal disaster. The thought was, okay, they'll be a little more unified this time because the people in charge of the House and Senate, well, they've worked with Trump. It's not the Paul Ryan who doesn't like Trump, whatever. What have you seen in the last couple of days? You've seen a never Trumper in John Thune becoming the Senate Majority Leader. You've got the Freedom Caucus threatening and then backing down on challenging Mike Johnson for Speaker. And you have some of these appointments that are made to the cabinet level and some things that aren't cabinet level and therefore do not need approval. So in other words, we haven't even gotten to the execution phase of things, and they can't get out of their own way. And I wanted to write this down so that I actually had the accurate numbers. Do not use the M word, because this is not a mandate.
No, it's not.
50.2% of Americans voted for Donald Trump a week ago, 8 days ago. 50.2%. 48.1% for Kamala Harris. I know the Electoral College looks different, and I do support the Electoral College, but I'm talking about mandate. 75.6 million votes versus 72.4 million. So let's boil this down, Matt. 2% difference, bare majority of Americans, and 3 million votes separate. This is not a mandate. And you want to talk about historic shifts if we make it to the midterms. That's what's being set up right here.
And if I may add a number to that you don't have there.
Sure.
120 million registered voter people that could have voted in this election did not vote. When you look at the actual percentage of people that are of voting age in the United States, he won 23% of them. That means 77% of the people of this country did not vote for him or just did not vote. And so you are looking at a minority, and I'll go back to what I said before, is the problem that the Republicans have is that when they finally do catch the car, they don't quite know what to do.
Yeah.
And they basically, and now they're going to catch the car and they've got their one chance. And I guarantee you there is going to be a lot of pressure to kill Social Security, kill Medicaid, Medicare, because they might never get another shot like this again. And I don't know whether they're going to do it or not, but I can tell you there is a whole a lot of bad coming our way right now. And when you look at the people that he's putting in there, that just tells me none of these people are competent to run these departments. It's all about basically the figureheads behind Trump telling all these departments what to do.
I had a former CIA agent on my radio program today. And I said, well, how's it looking from your perspective? Because he's been critical of various things. He said, I have serious concerns about Kristi Noem running Homeland Security.
Oh, yeah.
And
the last time I checked, it's not border state. She has no experience with that.
Well, you got to keep those North Dakotans out. But I mean, it was, in all seriousness, and I'm saying, well, okay, that was a strident statement, sir, on your part. But he said you have to have a strength and backbone, and he doesn't see it.
No, it's basically a bunch of people pushing buttons. The bad guys, in this case, they won. Jeff Stein joining us. We'll talk to him a little bit more about something he said last week. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
The warmth in your eyes.
When addiction takes hold, it's easy to feel like no one can help. But you're not in this alone. For 75 years, Hazelden Betty Ford has been at the forefront of addiction and mental health care, evolving treatment, reimagining recovery, and breaking through barriers to help families everywhere find healing. So please reach out at 855-489-2383. Help is here. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation and aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, it's Angela Warner from Warner Stellian, and if you're like me, you've got a dozen things in your online shopping cart you're just waiting to buy. What if the price goes lower, or shouldn't I wait till Black Friday? Stop waiting. At Warner Stellian, we've got guaranteed Black Friday prices now. They won't go lower. So replace that almost broken dishwasher with free installation on select models, or upgrade to a bigger fridge with an exclusive $200 bonus and a faster stove for the holidays. Shop Black Friday prices now, guaranteed at WarnerStellion.com.
The Thanksgiving feast is back on at the Park Tavern. Thanksgiving Thursday, November 28th from 11 to 3, the Park Tavern has its Thanksgiving Day buffet. Enjoy the all-you-can-eat buffet with all your Thanksgiving favorites for $25.95 per person, $18.95 for 65 and older, and kids 6 to 12, and kids 5 and under are free. And it includes an hour of free bowling. Seatings begin at 11 a.m. and the last seatings are at 2 p.m. You need to call for reservations, 952-929-6810. That's 952-929-6810. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Giving thanks this Thanksgiving is simple with help from the Park Tavern.
Step into the world of movement and native culture at Nimiwin, now showing at All My Relations Arts. Nimiwin is translated as Everyone Dance. This moving multimedia exhibition, curated by Josie Hoffman, delves into the connection between movement and identity, drawing inspiration from dance and powwow traditions. It showcases the work of Indigenous artists from Minnesota, emphasizing the fluidity of movement in our bodies, land, and community. Witness Nimiwin and its powerful expression on Indigenous art. On display now through January 18th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
Thanksgiving is fast approaching, and if you want the best turkey on your table, now is the time to act. Reserve a fresh, never frozen turkey from Ferndale Market. That's where the Peterson family has been raising free-range, antibiotic-free turkeys since 1939. Each year, they raise a special flock just for Thanksgiving, delivering pure, flavorful turkeys with no fillers or basting solutions, just 100% natural and delicious. Taste the difference of a fresh, never frozen turkey from Ferndale Market, guaranteed to be the highlight of your holiday meal. Pick yours up at Ferndale's On-Farm Market in Cannon Falls, which is a beautiful drive from the Twin Cities and features lots of fall colors. Or if you prefer to stay closer to home, find Ferndale Market Thanksgiving turkeys at a natural food store near you. Visit ferndalemarket.com to reserve your Thanksgiving turkey today and locate a retail partner near you. Make this Thanksgiving unforgettable with a farm fresh turkey from Ferndale Market.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime on 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle, and of course live in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Jeff Stein joining us right now. Jeff, last week you had said something. Now, this was the day after the election, and you had said, we talked about mass deportation, and I was saying, you know, the ugly secret about conservatives and undocumented workers is there's, especially in the ag sector, you can't have an ag sector without undocumented workers. And I had said, oh, well, I mean, what's going to happen when he deports 15 million undocumented workers? And your belief at that point was, oh, he's not going to do that. And since that time, you've had Trump commit to basically an unlimited budget for private prisons. And you've had multiple people in his circle say, no, the goal indeed is 15 million undocumented workers, that they want to get all those undocumented workers out. We also need to make sure that in the first term that he double-crossed Iowa with the ethanol issue, and his export tariffs dramatically hurt the pork industry until Joe Biden fixed that when he took office and he started getting those countries back open for us again. That all being said, this is well, he's not going to really do that, is the catchphrase of all Republicans this last week. Because I've talked to a lot of Republicans. I talked to someone today about the Department of Education. Well, he's not really going to get rid of that. Yes, he is. This week, and I'm sorry this is a long setup, but here's
it's fine.
This week I made the problem. I said the problem with the Democrats is they're not really a political party anymore. They're just a pile of ideas, because there's no three things which every Democrat agrees on. And it's just, and you have such a wide ranging party now, from Bernie Sanders to Colin Peterson. There isn't any continuity to the party. The problem with the Republicans is the opposite. The vast majority of the people that voted for Trump because they hate Democrats, and they saw that Democrats really hate him. So they proudly went and cast that just to get those guys. Since that time, they basically have started trying to pay attention to what's going to happen. And that is what I'm hearing. Oh, I didn't realize what tariffs were. He's not really going to do that. Oh, he's not really going to do mass deportations. He's not really going to do all these things. The reality is he sure as hell is, because you guys voted. And isn't that a bigger problem? The fact that you have a party where they don't care about the quality of the individual. He likes Hitler, who was hanging around with Jeffrey Epstein. They don't care about the policies, which were dramatically going to hurt most of the people that voted for him. They only care about the other guys losing. And henceforth, now they've created this, well, I hope he doesn't get rid of this, or I hope he doesn't do this, because that's going to hurt us.
I'm not a Republican, so I can't speak on behalf of members of a political party because I am a registered independent. And as we've established, I don't vote a straight ticket. I think there were a ton of Republicans who wish he would not have won the election. And before that, there were a ton of Republicans that did not want him to win the nomination because it makes their life more difficult. And as I think we've discussed, what's the future of either political party at this point? Because yes, you know who the president is for, in theory, the next 4 years. But what happens to the party after that? Because is this a Republican party again, or is it a Trumpican MAGA party? And what happens the next 2 years is going to determine that. I still think from the deportation standpoint, they're going to go after the crime committee, the new crime committee ones first. I understand that Holman has been there since Obama, and he's been lauded by all sorts of folks as a great deporter. All right. I think New York Times said he was great at his job back when he worked with for Obama. So they've got the team in place that could do all of that. There's no question about it. I don't worry as much about some of the things because I think they're going to focus on taxation, et cetera. But having just said that, I don't think they're going to be able to get much done the way they're acting right now. Yeah, with regard to Congress, yes, the president can do an awful lot extrajudicially, executive orders. You don't need legislation, et cetera. And that's why you put Holman as a border czar, not only to pimp the Democrats by using that term, but because it's not subject to Senate confirmation or accountability.
But you see, you're also putting someone in there where, although I don't agree with him, he has experience in doing exactly, he knows how to deport people. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. The reason why that's going to happen is because they already know everything else they do is going to be toxic and it's going to turn voters off. So what they need to do is they need to be able to point to the mass deportations now and say, we followed through on that. And it wasn't just some token 1,000 people here or there, that this was a dramatic decrease in the amount of undocumented workers. And even if he doesn't deport 15 million, if he goes out and gets 300,000 or 400,000, you and I both know that means a lot of the people, especially a lot of people that your state needs to go and pick crops, work in processing plants and stuff like that, they're going to leave on their own. They don't want to get yanked out, thrown into a prison and, thrown into some country they have no idea where they're at. I mean, they don't want that. So, they have to have a result on this because this is going to be one of the few things they're going to try to hang their hat on when it comes to the midterms and it comes to the next election.
Well, and that's an interesting point. The idea that you're not going to be able to get the other stuff done. So do this so you can at least point to an early win is what you're basically saying from a political standpoint. And there could be, and we've already heard reports. I think I saw this on CNN that there was a caravan on its way that said, whoop, who won? And they turned around and went back. Now, I don't know how you can track these things, but I'll go along with it.
There's a lot of those made up stories going on right now. So,
and again, so again, who knows? I'm sure. I mean, I did hear a couple of interviews with Holman where he said, hey, if folks want to self-report, you just go, it's going to be really, the first test is going to be the budget in December. Because don't forget two things. One, he's still facing sentencing in a criminal case. That hasn't been kicked. And the government's going to shut down before Christmas if they can't come to some agreement. And the Republicans' best idea is, let's just kick it to February. And the Democrats are like, really? Good luck to you.
There's no way in the world they're going to be able to just do a few hundred people. They're going to have to do a mass deportation. And once again,
to justify it, sure.
Well, and I mean, the question is how, if all of a sudden Iowa lost 1/3 of its undocumented workforce, would Iowa still be a really proud Republican state?
I'm not sure it's a real proud Republican state when Trump's the topic at the moment.
But would they stay with Trump if that happened?
They'd stay with Republicans statewide, but not necessarily Trump.
I think
there'd be a split. I think there'd be a split.
I think there'd be poisoning of the water hole because all of a sudden their bread and butter would be going there. I'll post the Iowa politics report a little bit later on. Jeff, thank you very much. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, coming up with Hour 2.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is
car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 46. Tonight, rain with a low around 40. And Thursday, cloudy with a high around 49. Ditch the ordinary. Transform your meals with Vinaigrette's premium oils and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to white balsamic vinegars, they're your go-to since 2009. Family owned and proud. Visit them at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis or explore their offerings at vinaigrettemn.com. Elevate your taste with Vinaigrette.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Nice to have you with us, Matt and Brett here. No, I find to be funny is that the people who know at this point, it's reversed itself. The people who are now saying, oh, Donald Trump is definitely going to do all the things that he said, are the Democrats who are only looking at him doing what he's doing. The people who are downplaying it are the ones who are screaming and waving mass deportation signs saying, well, he's not going to really do that. And just to clarify something, because there was someone in the comments section on the live stream there that I wanted to say, no, I'm not calling for the deportation. I'm calling out the freaking hypocrisy of it all. I get the world that we live in. I have said to people out there, and I'm going to say to you right now, if you've got a roofing job you want to get done, concrete job, siding, windows, anything like that, I would call up right now and get that scheduled as soon as possible. Because I understand, this year we had concrete work done, we had some roofing work done. I saw both cases, most of the crew were undocumented workers. They did a fantastic job, not complaining in any way, shape, or form. Fantastic job. But when they're gone, whether that means, and like I said, I think part of this is in sending in troops into the cities, because you're not going to get Minneapolis, St. Paul to back up and start rounding people up just to round people up. So they're going to have to send the military on in to round the people up so Trump gets a win on this. And so that's what's going to happen. An occupation of the metro areas by people who say we should, you can't, we have to police these for you. You're not going to do it for us. And when this does start happening, trust me when I say a lot of these guys are going to get out of here themselves. And those industries are going to be crippled in regards to doing the construction work that we've come, you can nowadays make a phone call and within 3 weeks, you got a construction crew there. Good luck with that. I'm going to guess it's going to be 6 to 8 months in the future. And that's on top of the fact that Trump's tariffs are going to basically skyrocket the price of all manufacturing goods. So you're basically going to be looking at it costing 3 times as much and taking 6 times longer to get it done. So I'd get it done as fast as I possibly could. When it comes to the ag sector, I lived in Iowa. And it's the dirty little secret of these right-wing trolls of that live in that state, is their state doesn't function. I want to repeat those words. The Iowa will not function. Rural Minnesota will not function without their undocumented workers. I mean, I got to imagine if you are a farmer right now, or if you're working in a dairy or you're working in a processing plant and you've got your workers out there, and you're saying to yourself, if I lose even half of these people, I'm not going to be able to get my product to market. You're going to lose all of them. And you're not going to be able to go find people who are going to work minimum wage in a field all day long that are U.S. citizens. That's just not going to happen. And eventually what they'll do, Republicans will come up with the idea of the chain gang again, and they'll put chain gangs out in the fields to work, but there's not going to be nearly enough prisoners to do that. So it's going to be a situation where the ag sector is going to get crippled. I'm not against the undocumented workers. As a matter of fact, I'm 100% for them because we need them, for God's sakes. Our unemployment rate is so low, even with all the undocumented workers here. I mean, And there's the other question. So you get rid of all the undocumented workers. We already have a super low unemployment rate. Where are you going to get the workers to replace them, you idiots? They want to come here and do the jobs that are available, and they would do them, and they do them with a professionalism and an ability which is amazing. Then let them. But they want to win. And so their whole goal is to basically deport as many people as possible. And not only is it inhumane to the undocumented worker, we can talk about that all day long, but you really are going to absolutely annihilate the ag sector. You're just not going to, you're going to have a ton of farms that are just not going to have their food get to market. The dairies are not going to get their milk to market. It's just not going to happen. And my guess is once they create this problem and all of a sudden you're going to have, every ranch farming state in the nation, the Republican Party is going to Trump and saying, for God's sake, stop this. We need some help. And what will then happen if is some sort of temporary worker visa for undocumented people to work here while they try to figure out a solution. And they'll act like, oh, see, what we did is we actually kept track of them. In the reality, they're not going to keep track of them. They're just basically going to cave to these industries that are getting destroyed. So, I'm not against undocumented workers. I understand how the undocumented worker situation works here. This is about holding the Republicans accountable for, you dumb idiots voted for this. You need to eat it. And you probably are going to have to eat it because no one else can eat your damn product. How about we say it like that? 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. So, Brett, I've got two crime things here. This first one is very sad, and I hope I'm going to try to say this name correctly, and you can correct me if you know the right pronunciation. 34-year-old man was shot in the head for an apparent hunting accident. He has now passed away. Jace, Jace Srur, S-R-U-R, Srur, I'm going to guess, and forgive me if I'm wrong on that. Was taken to Sanford Hospital in Fargo after he was shot in the head around 8 a.m. on Saturday while hunting in the 4600 block of 90th Avenue North in the rural Clay County, which is about 20 miles north of Moorhead. Srur's death was announced on social media by his employer, Fargo-based G&T Plumbing Services and Heating. There was a second unrelated hunting accident. Now, by the way, it doesn't sound like we know the details here. There's a second unrelated hunting accident that resulted in a hunter being shot north of Pearlie in Norman County, which is also in northwestern Minnesota. The 37-year-old victim that was suffered a single gunshot wound around 11 a.m. Saturday, was taken by ambulance to Fargo Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. According to the Minnesota DNR, there have been 7 hunting-related shootings with injuries statewide through November 5th this year. Pheasant hunter lost his balance, shot himself in the foot. A bird hunter turned to shoot and shot a fellow hunter. Hunter shot self, messing around with their hand over the barrel of the shotgun. Hunter heard movement, turned and shot a fellow hunter in both legs. Hunter stumbled and shot fellow hunter in the calf. Careless gun handling led to Hunter shooting himself in the hand and forearm. Hunter shooting towards residents, a resident was struck in the eye by a BB. Wow. It's unclear what led to Srur and the other hunter being shot on November 9th incidents. I bring this up. They shot towards a house. You pro-gun guys always like to scream the same thing. You just want to go after hunting weapons and every hunter is safe. That's your words, not mine, man. That's your words. That this is you're hunting. There's never a problem with hunting. That's your words, not mine. The guy running his hand over the end of the freaking barrel, the boom boom end of it, shooting at a house. You wheeled to shoot at a bird and shot the guy next to you. None of these people sound like they should ever own a gun again, hunting or otherwise. None of these people should own a gun again. For their safety and for our safety at this point, I think that's just a gimme.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a caricature if he's missing that bad with his shot. I mean,
it's you know what it is? It's the Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck fight scene. No, shoot. It's like, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, shoot out! Hey, he shoots Daffy. That's what's going on. If you are like Daffy Duck in a cartoon, you should not have a gun. Here's another one for you. This has nothing to do with hunting. This has to do, though, with a lot of people that destroy a lot of trees in northern Minnesota. St. Louis County man is accused of illegally harvesting the tops of evergreens to sell for holiday decorations, faces a felony theft charge for the first time because of the enormity of the violation and repeat offenses, according to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. The charge comes at a time of year when the state's conservation officer often report more suspicious activity involving spruce tops, birch poles, and boughs, aka decorative materials. The reports in the last 2 weeks have that several references to investigating theft cases. Blake Bushman of Babbitt was caught October 27th with 1,300 cut spruce tops on county land west of town, said State Conservation Officer Anthony Bermel, who has several run-ins with Bushman in recent years. I would call him a habitual offender, Bermel says. Other charges in the case include gross misdemeanor and trespassing and failure to obtain a consent to cut decorative materials and littering on both public and private property. Bushman faces jail time and fines if convicted. The legal harvest and purchase of decorative materials is allowed in Minnesota. For example, the DNR permit is needed to cut in state forests. Also, private landowners permit others to harvest on their properties. The business market has picked up in recent years, including illegal activity. This is the small trees. And my dad, when I was a kid, I mean, this is back in the 1980s, my dad was livid because he was driving up north somewhere. And I think it was one of his fields where there was high bush cranberries, which he sent me and my brothers and sisters into the swamps to go get. So, good times. Have you ever had high bush cranberry jelly?
I have not, no.
It's pretty tasty. That being said, we go in there and my dad stopped the car and you could see someone had gone down a line of trees up there and cut the tops off of every one. And my dad said, someone's stealing these to sell them as Christmas trees. And he was livid because all of them die or they stop growing. It's I'm not sure exactly the whole thing, but it obviously is detrimental to the forest because a bunch of idiots are out there doing that. But yeah, it's the rise of these small trees you see because you see them everywhere now. A lot of people like a smaller tree.
That's interesting. I hope any that I've ever had haven't been stolen from the black market somewhere.
I usually go to like a local charity that sells them. I think we need to ask where they're getting them from. They got to be getting. I hope they're doing it well. But there's more to this. There is more to this.
Make it sounding getting a Christmas tree like going to the pawn shop. Where'd you get that from?
Well, exactly, man. This guy out there, and apparently we must need to actually make this a harsher penalty because he had 1,300 of these things.
Yeah.
The legal harvest, they need a permit. Increasing illegal activity has been happening as in recent years. Bermel said some violators will cut down from mid-September until Thanksgiving, removing as many as 10,000 spruce tops from dense bogs in a season. Assisted by St. Louis County Sheriff's Department and Babbitt Police Chief, Bermel seized 1,300 spruce tops that Bushman allegedly cut and bundled. His last cut covered 5 acres. Bermel added, there just seem to be problems in the state forest, private and county land, and just seems to be, it has no regard for land ownership, the officer said. In Saginaw, Minnesota. In Saginaw, Minnesota. Do you know where Saginaw is?
No, I'm with you. I thought that was Michigan.
It's like all of it. There's a Saginaw here somewhere. In Saginaw, Minnesota, commercial vehicle inspectors noticed a box truck was as much as 3,000 pounds overweight during a routine check on October 30th. That's a slight bit over. The truck was stuffed with spruce tops from 2 to 6 feet, along with some white pine boughs. Officials contacted conservative officer Derek Perlin, who said the goods were brought from multiple sellers but were acquired illegally. The materials were en route to a Michigan business which didn't have a Minnesota buyer's license. The business was cited and paid the $25 for a state permit for the buy to go forward. So wait a second here. Here's the problem. So you have trees that have been illegally harvested. They're in the process of illegally being taken to a buyer, and you basically say, all right, pay the $25 and we'll let all the trees go. I'm not exactly a fan of the idea of, turning them into, either burning them or turning them into mulch per se, but the damage has been done. Why are we allowing these people to benefit from this with all they're doing is basically damaging other people's property? They go out into these bogs, man. They cut them down. I saw this over in Bawabic too. I was driving out there, the road from Gilbert to Bawabic. I saw there was someone that cut down the tops of all the trees down there one time. Just god awful. Just god awful. And yet we don't really have a punishment for this for some reason. The guy, when the DNR guy, this sounds like a CBS procedural. It's when the DNR guy says that's a habitual tree cutter. Come on, man. You got to do something more than say, well, we're really going to throw the book at you. Here's a $25 fee that you could fill out this paperwork. And all right, good enough. All right, go ahead. Move forward.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it's really going to deter people that are trying this. Oh, $25, whatever.
Yeah,
Profit I'll make instead.
All right, good. So, okay, I gotta,
I'll be real careful next time, officer, not to do that.
$100, you say? Okay, here you go. I'm off the hook. Let me go grab my saw and get to cutting. Dear Lord. Stop the insanity. And stop the insanity. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
The Thanksgiving feast is back on at the Park Tavern. Thanksgiving Thursday, November 28th from 11 to 3, the Park Tavern has its Thanksgiving Day buffet. Enjoy the all-you-can-eat buffet with all your Thanksgiving favorites for $25.95 per person, $18.95 for 65 and older, and kids 6 to 12, and kids 5 and under are free, and it includes an hour of free bowling. Seatings begin at 11 a.m. The last seatings are at 2 p.m., and you need to call for reservations. 952-929-6810 on Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Giving thanks this Thanksgiving is simple and easy with help from the Park Tavern.
Get a head start on your holiday shopping at Next Chapter Booksellers. Black Friday is just around the corner, and Next Chapter Booksellers has the perfect gift ideas. Books make for easy, thoughtful gifts that are a breeze to wrap and ship. Their friendly staff excels at offering recommendations for all ages and preferences. Explore their wide selection of puzzles and games for interactive family fun. And if you're still stumped, then try a Next Chapter Booksellers gift card. That's Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul, your destination for easy-to-give gifts.
Thanksgiving is fast approaching, and if you want the best turkey on your table, now is the time to act. Reserve a fresh, never frozen turkey from Ferndale Market. That's where the Peterson family has been raising free-range, antibiotic-free turkeys since 1939. Each year, they raise a special flock just for Thanksgiving, delivering pure, flavorful turkeys with no fillers or basting solutions, just 100% natural and delicious. Taste the difference of a fresh, never frozen turkey from Ferndale Market, guaranteed to be the highlight of your holiday meal. Pick yours up at Ferndale's On-Farm Market in Cannon Falls, which is a beautiful drive from the Twin Cities and features lots of fall colors. Or if you prefer to stay closer to home, find Ferndale Market Thanksgiving turkeys at a natural food store near you. Visit ferndalemarket.com to reserve your Thanksgiving turkey today and locate a retail partner near you. Make this Thanksgiving unforgettable with a farm fresh turkey from Ferndale Market.
Tuberville, the stupidest man to ever be senator in this country, is already basically saying, if you don't approve Matt Gaetz as a Republican senator, we're going to throw you out. Go for it. I'm all for that. Good luck there. I think we can talk about another hunting injury there. That's shooting yourself in the own foot. But yeah, I can't, even with the majority they have, I honestly cannot see Matt Gaetz. I cannot see Matt Gaetz getting out of the Senate. I just can't. If it is, it's going to be the biggest mistake they're already, I mean, we have to just suck it up and deal with this, which goes back to something I said last hour. And I want to say this again, especially just for the Twin Cities folks. I have a lot of people that are reaching out to me that are sad, frustrated. They don't know what to do. I get it. I understand. You can't, I'm a little bit of a intervention here. You can't just spend the next 4 years in the fetal position in your house and hope things work out. It's done. This is the reality. A lot of people are going to get hurt because of this vote. There's not much we can do to stop that. But we just need to accept what has happened here and prepare and get ready to move and get ready to do whatever we can. Now, there are two things or three things actually I want to kind of, get for you here. First of all is this. I am very reachable on Blue Sky. And once again, if you want to go to Blue Sky, go find me at mattmcneilshow.bluesky.social or bksy.social. Matt McNeil Show there. You can find me on the Mastodon, which is Matt McNeil Show at Mastodon Party, because, yeah, that's me. So you can find me there. It's a little weirder on Threads, but it works. It's Matthew McNeil 1 on Threads. Matthew McNeil 1. You can find me there. And then, of course, Matt McNeil Show Progressive Citizen X on Facebook. You can follow me there. On Blue Sky and I don't believe you can do this. I don't think you can do this on Mastodon. No, you can't. No, you can't. On Blue Sky and on Facebook, you can send me a private message. And if you need to, please do. Matt, you need a vent, I'm here to help, okay? Talk to people. Get it out of your system. You got to deal with this, or else it's just going to chew you up. You just got to deal with this. So reach out if I can help. I'm more than happy to do that. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to stop and take inventory. Now, I am going to say this as a white male heterosexual in this country. I already know my visibility ratio when it comes to the damage that this administration is going to do is somewhat limited. I talked about this a little last week. I mean, so you get rid of the Department of Education. Well, my child is a senior. So at best, it's, the worst part is the possibility on the Pell Grants, which even I don't think the U.S. government's going to get rid of the cheaper loan options for college kids. I think that's going to be such a hard sell for the House members and for the senators that I think that there'll just be too many of them that are like, no. Yeah, sure, idiots like Tom Cotton and Tuberville, they'll vote for it. But when you get into any state where there's at least a large population of people, like in a lot of colleges, that's not going to fly. I mean, like I said, it'd be interesting to see in Virginia, North Carolina, where all those colleges are at, Florida, where all those colleges are at. You're really going to basically say, college is only there for, for those people. So and I said this earlier, we're kind of doing a checklist of things we're getting done. I'm going to get my passport renewed, and I'm going to get my kids their passports. And the reason why is because if they do indeed follow through in cutting the government by a third, it's going to make any kind of processing like that a nightmare. So I'm trying to get that stuff done. If you are in one of these, what's going to be persecuted classes, Black, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, LGBTQIA+, women, pregnant women. If you are in any of those groups, you just touch base with people, get in touch, find out, get their support groups in place. Find out, just prepare yourself, embrace yourself. Do the best you can. I might even go as far as saying, if you've got a child who is LGBTQIA, maybe you suggest to them not to go to college outside of Minnesota. That at least there is some level of buffer here in the state of Minnesota that you will not, that you could end up hurting you a lot more in other states. especially real red states. I would not be sending a kid to Iowa State or to Iowa right now. Not in a million freaking years. Not in a million freaking years. Missouri? God, no. Maybe Illinois. Maybe one of the colleges down there, but I wouldn't go to Wisconsin. I wouldn't go to Michigan. Sure as hell wouldn't go to the Dakotas, but that's nothing. I don't get me. Dad, should I look at North Dakota? Oh, no, don't, no, just we'll find a, you want to go to college, right? College. Okay. No, you don't want to. Sorry to UND, North Dakota State, South Dakota State. My bad. I'm making a joke.
They just canceled that big ad buy
Damn it
with us. Yeah.
Oh no, not that. Prepare yourself. Just keep yourself focused. Do it the best you can. And then we clearly have to look at people. I mean, I've talked about the Democratic Party has to clean up their frickin' act, and they do. I mean, Angie Craig's out there saying, you're not moderate enough. I mean, for God's sakes, Kamala Harris was campaigning with Liz Cheney, you idiot. What are you talking about? We weren't moderate enough. Dear Lord. No, they need to clean up their act. But we do too. And that means you need to call out these people who've either voted for Trump or didn't vote. And just sort of say, what the hell do you think you're doing? And yeah, this is going to hurt. But are you just going to sit there and take another, or are you going to fix this problem? And it has to be long-term commitment to the Democrats. It's got to be. Because it does us no freaking good to have 2 or 3 election cycles, a general election and a midterm, and we do it, and then all of a sudden everyone stays home. It has to be a generational commitment. That's what it has to be. So those are the 3 things I'm going to say to you. All right? Just vent. Find some way to vent. Get it out of your system. It's time for us to get up off the ground and realize we got a fight ahead of us. Look at your culpability. Look at your visibility. Try to take care of what you need to take care of and build up a game plan. And then get ready to fight for our lives, because quite literally, as we were saying before the election, but now is painfully clear, that is on the line. Julie is in Minneapolis, wanted to chime in today. Julie, thanks for holding. Welcome into the show.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my call. See, I believe in taking care of yourself, but here's the problem. We don't have time to be demoralized. We've got several weeks. You know what I used to do if I was feeling down and depressed? I'd say, what helps me? Okay, listening to music. But what really helped me was going for a long, brisk walk. Because you can't be in a mood. At least I wasn't if I was doing physical exercise. This is the same thing. We've got to try to do even small things. A couple of quick examples. I think it might have been on Hartman's show. But anyway, he said there's a dozen or more judges to be approved. And maybe we can do it now. And so I called my senators. Of course, Klobuchar is on the on the committee. And, he said, you've got to demand that these judges get approved because Biden will sign off on it. And then I heard Sunday, I believe Trump made threats to the Republicans if they didn't squelch those judges. But anyway, and then I heard today that, you know what, we could pass the ERA before Trump gets into power. Now, I don't know if that is humanly possible, but I'm calling my senators and my Congress people tomorrow.
Well,
I tried to call the White House.
Well, Julie, I'm gonna step in here really quick. If it has to get through the House, it's not going to happen. I think the judicial nominees are going to be a question. And I think that's a legitimate point. Whatever it is, Julie, it's going for hikes, listening to music, cooking some nice food, talking with a friend, find this. Because as I said, our time for wallowing is kind of done. You got to get up. You got to start facing off, because this is a horrific reality. And this is actually happening to us in real time. Okay. So no more fantasy land, no more of this crap. Get ready, vent, get ready to get back into normal positions. Get out there, make sure your visibility, your things that could come back and bite you, you're taking care of those things as quickly as possible. Hunker down as best you can for the next few months, next few years, and then, and I'm going to say this because clearly 8 million people did not freaking vote. You go grab these people by their freaking ear, you look in their face and say, what the hell are you doing? Get out there and vote. And maybe if they've lost their Social Security and they've lost their Medicaid, they've lost their kids' school, they've lost the local hospital, they can't afford health insurance, that the everything bad, their kids are being drafted to go fight in Iran, or the troops are taking over the major cities. Maybe, just maybe, they'll realize their freaking Call of Duty game is not as more important than going out and voting. It is disgusting. We are here, but we are here. I am not quitting. I'm not leaving. I'm going to fight. Who's with me? 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Wednesday.
Oh, hey now, baby.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 46. Tonight, rain with a low around 40. And Thursday, cloudy with a high around 49. Ditch the ordinary. Transform your meals with Vinaigrette's premium oils and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to white balsamic vinegars, they're your go-to since 2009. Family owned and proud. Visit them at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis or explore their offerings at vinaigrettemn.com. Elevate your taste with Vinaigrette.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. By the way, here you go. The band, that band there is Jungle. Go listen to their albums. Man, they're fantastic. That will put you in a good mood. And go watch their videos. You want to see some amazing dancing? Go watch their videos. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I have to admit, Max Nestorak has an exceptional article over at The Reformer about this settlement that happened about this dairy. I kind of brought this up a little bit earlier. It was the biggest wage theft case in the Minnesota Attorney General's office ever brought. More than $3 million in wages allegedly stolen from hundreds of mostly undocumented immigrants working across a sprawling dairy operation with more than a dozen farms in central Minnesota. But after the state settled the lawsuit against Evergreen Acres Dairy and its related businesses for just $250,000 last month, workers say they are feeling shortchanged again and worried about the message it sends to other dairy farms that fleece their workers. I would agree with that. What are the other farmers going to say? It's minimal. They're going to keep doing the same thing. One worker speaking in Spanish told Attorney General Keith Ellison through an interpreter in a meeting on Saturday. About 40 current and former Evergreen Acres workers, some with young children in tow, came to a basement of St. Joseph's Catholic Church outside of St. Cloud to hear about the settlement that ends the 2-year-old case. They expressed their disappointment in the paltry penalties for dairy owner Keith Schaefer. If we as immigrants, as undocumented immigrants, stole water or stole a chicken, we go directly to jail. Why is he not in jail now? Said Ma Elena Gutierrez, executive director for FIA Justice, a nonprofit that will help workers bring their case against Ellison. The case underscores the challenge of enforcing wage theft statutes, given the victims are often poor and largely powerless, especially undocumented workers, while the business owner has money, lawyers, and longstanding ties to the local community. I want to repeat that this dairy worker was doing this out in front of the county attorneys and the county sheriffs, and they turned a blind eye to this guy stealing millions of dollars and the mistreatment of these people. So, yeah, there you go. Ellison and members of his staff who worked on the case acknowledged that $250,000 won't make workers whole, but they defended accepting the settlement over taking the case to trial and noted the other agency could still bring criminal charges. You're right. It should be more money, Ellison said. The worst thing would be if nobody was here to do anything. Going after wage theft. Well, come on, Keith. I like Keith Ellison, but that's not a good answer, dude. That's not a good answer. I mean, at the very least, you should have gotten $1 million from him. I mean, if he stole $3 million, you should have gotten $1 million from him, at least. Going after wage theft has been a central focus of Ellison's office. In 2019, he created a wage theft unit, coinciding with the state enacting one of the country's strictest wage theft laws that made it a felony to steal more than $1,000 in wages, the same as stealing clothes or electronics or anything else. Since then, his office has boasted several settlements, including winning nearly $1 million in back wages for 3M workers. Ellison's office began investigating allegations of wage theft and worker abuse in the fall of 2022 at Evergreen Acres, where workers told investigators they clocked as many as 168 hours in a 2-week period, earning between $12.50 and $17.50 an hour for grueling farm work. According to the 61-page lawsuit Ellison's office filed in January, Schaefer and his daughter, Megan Hill, regularly underpaid workers 12 to 32 hours each per week paycheck, didn't pay overtime premiums, and destroyed a falsified payroll records. The lying jackasses. The lawsuit also allegedly, lying jackasses, allegedly. The lawsuit also alleges employers were charged rent to live in garages, barns, and other buildings unfit for human habitation. Some lived with bedrooms and bathrooms covered in mold, while others didn't even have toilets. Some employers who worked 12-hour day shifts shared the same bed with others who worked another 12-hour night shift. They had their wages automatically deducted for rent. Workers say that Schaefer is emotionally volatile and frequently abused his workers. Schaefer allegedly threatened to kill one employee and reminded the workers of a dog he recently killed, while he was told the other employees, many of them were undocumented immigrants from Mexico and speak a different language, that he would call the police on them. Another employee was fired for... You guys, I'm surprised this guy's got anyone working for him at all at this point, frankly. Another employee was fired for taking a day off to go to a clinic after he got chemicals in his eyes while on the job. Schaefer and Hill did not admit to any wrongdoing as part of their settlement. Their attorney did not respond to emails seeking comment. Well, they do sound like absolutely horrible human beings, the least Christian people I've ever heard in my life. And I want to remind people once again, there are plenty of county attorneys and county sheriffs who knew this guy was doing this stuff and refused to intercede. Law and order, my caboose. They sound like they're just horrible, horrible human beings. The $250,000 will be demanded among the workers with wage theft claims going back to May 2020 in accordance with the state statute of limitations, although the workers allege Evergreen Acres has been cheating them for decades. At Saturday's meeting, one worker said he felt cheated out of wages when he worked at Evergreen in 2013 and 2016. Unfortunately, he won't be eligible for compensation, the Attorney General's staff told him. The Attorney General's office said that the undocumented workers who were employed by Evergreen Acres since 2013 may be eligible for deferred action on deportation, which is granted victims of labor abuses and other crimes. Some 20 Evergreen workers so far have received deferred action for deportation, allowing them to obtain authorization to work in the United States for a temporary period. The Attorney General's office told workers on Saturday's meeting that they weren't sure what would happen with deferred action under President Trump. In addition to monetary settlements, Evergreen Acres must make repairs to employee housing. The Attorney General will also be able to monitor the Minnesota dairy and its related companies, Evergreen Estates and Morgan feedlots, for future violations in the next 3 years. Schaefer and Hill must submit regular payroll records to the Attorney General and allow inspections of its employee housing to ensure it meets basic habitability standards. Gutierrez told Ellison she's already hearing from workers that Schaefer could be trying to skirt the settlement agreement by making workers pay him in cash for rent for uninhabitable quarters for receiving their checks. The settlement agreement also bars Schaefer from retaliating against workers who cooperate with the Attorney General, but some say they've already faced repercussions for reporting the wage theft and substandard living conditions. One worker who asked not to be identified in fear of retaliation said he was fired from Evergreen Acres early this year. He said he could not find work at other dairy farms and suspects Schaefer told him that he cooperated with investigators. Ellison, which would lead me to ask the question of what the heck's going on with the other dairy farms. We're not going to quit, Ellison said. The only way to continue to get away with it is if people get intimidated and don't come forward. As for criminal charges, Ellison's wage theft division doesn't have criminal jurisdiction. They can refer cases to local law enforcement and county attorneys to put together a criminal case. A spokesman for the Attorney General's office said they have been in communication with the Stearns County attorney about Evergreen Acres. And of course, hey, that's a white guy that owns a dairy. Of course, we're not going to charge them. They can abuse the living daylights out of those people because, hey, white. I don't know. Is that actually what the Stearns County attorney say? I don't know. I'm just guessing. It's just a guess at what the Stearns County attorney is saying there about, sure, abuse the living daylights out of those people. I could care less. White guy stuff. That's how it works. That's going to be my guess. I don't know. Anytime TikTok, Stearns County, you want to address this. Wage theft prosecutors are exceedingly rare. Needless to say, I agree with them. These guys stole and abused people. How are they not in jail? How are they not in jail? How have they not been arrested? You abused multiple people and stole $3 million. You stole $3 million of what we know. And you abused people. And Stearns County, so far, I don't see a crime here. What are you talking about? You expect me to go after him? He's one of the big boys in this county. I'm a coward. Oh, that's what it is, isn't it? Is that what it is, Stearns County? I don't know. They're absolutely right. That same county attorney who sits there, oh boy, can I really charge crime here? If one of these undocumented workers took a bottle of water that wasn't theirs, they would have 5 cop cars, guy on the ground, gun to the back of his head. We're going to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. But chronic abuse of other human beings and $3 million worth of theft? Oh, here's your mulligan. Oh, what are we supposed to do? Yep, cowards. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Some people wanting to chime in on the phone lines today. Why not? Javier is in St. Paul. He wanted to chime in. Welcome on in.
How you doing, Matt?
Doing well, sir.
I took a little break from all news and all social media. You're my first show back.
Sorry about that.
No, I love you. I was just commenting on the Jeff Stein's thing about the car that caught the dog.
Or the dog that caught the car.
And the dog that caught the car, correct. Yeah. And it's kind of like the Roe v. Wade thing that, they ran on it, they overturned it, they got it. And then they realized, oh God, more than half the country doesn't really want this. And so, I was kind of nervous for a while, but then after I checked in today on news and listened to y'all, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, they're gonna botch it before they even get to the starting line. So it's kind of
here's
I don't know. We just
Javier and Javier. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for coming back with me, and I do appreciate this. Here's what I'm going to say. the people that are actually the people pulling the strings, they know exactly what they're doing right now. They are putting a bunch of dopes as fall guys into place, and they're going to do this. And then when everyone turns on them, it's like, well, it wasn't us. It was Pete Hegseth. It wasn't us. It was Matt Gaetz. It wasn't us. It was Tulsi Gabbard. It wasn't us. It was Gravel Pit Gnome. That's what they're going to do. This is about setting up fall guys for what's coming. Don't forget that. Dave is in Egan. He wanted to chime in. Welcome on in, Dave. Dave? Hello, Dave. Dave, are you there? All right, tell you what. Let's take a break. Put Dave back on hold. We'll see if he comes back to the phone. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll keep Stearns County prosecution watch begins. How long till they file? They're not going to file charges? Probably not. All right. We don't know. We don't know. That's the problem. We just don't know. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Thanksgiving is fast approaching, and if you want the best turkey on your table, now is the time to act. Reserve a fresh, never frozen turkey from Ferndale Market. That's where the Peterson family has been raising free-range, antibiotic-free turkeys since 1939. Each year, they raise a special flock just for Thanksgiving, delivering pure, flavorful turkeys with no fillers or basting solutions, just 100% natural and delicious. Taste the difference of a fresh, never frozen turkey from Ferndale Market, guaranteed to be the highlight of your holiday meal. Pick yours up at Ferndale's On-Farm Market in Cannon Falls, which is a beautiful drive from the Twin Cities and features lots of fall colors. Or if you prefer to stay closer to home, find Ferndale Market Thanksgiving turkeys at a natural food store near you. Visit ferndalemarket.com to reserve your Thanksgiving turkey today and locate a retail partner near you. Make this Thanksgiving unforgettable with a farm-fresh turkey from Ferndale Market.
Hi, everyone. Recently, I tried to figure out how much money I've saved on gas with my Toyota Sienna Hybrid from Rudy Luther Toyota. Toyota Hybrids are fantastic vehicles, roomy, safe, stylish, and incredibly fuel efficient. I got my latest Toyota Sienna a little over a year ago, so I did the math. So far, I've saved over $1,500 on gas since I got my Sienna. You heard that correctly, over $1,500 in fuel in little over a year. And they're a fun vehicle. You can drive all day on one tank of gas, so it's perfect for winter travel. Get yourself a Toyota Hybrid today and start saving money on fuel. Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
Hi, it's Angela Warner from Warner Stallion, and if you're like me, you've got a dozen things in your online shopping cart you're just waiting to buy. What if the price goes lower, or shouldn't I wait till Black Friday? Stop waiting. At Warner Stallion, we've got guaranteed Black Friday prices now. They won't go lower. So replace that almost broken dishwasher with free installation on select models, or upgrade to a bigger fridge with an exclusive $200 bonus and a faster stove for the holidays. Shop Black Friday prices now, guaranteed at warnerstallion.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Stearns County charged those guys yet? $3 million with theft, abusing people? No, not yet. I'm sure those charges are coming any second, because Lord knows if any of those people that were abused would break any laws in Stearns County, they'd be throwing the book at them. Cry, law and order, law and order. Something like that. I'm going to guess that's what it's going to be. But now all of a sudden they're stirring to the ground. Like, you wait a second here. You want us to basically do what now? I mean, he owns a bunch of dairies. He's a wealthy white guy. We can't. He was harmless fun. Oh, you conservatives suck. Can I just say that? You conservatives suck. You're spineless cowards, man. And you're only in it as long as it battles your narrative. I can't be a police officer for those human beings. They're undocumented workers. You guys suck, man. I'll tell you to your face. Get out there and make an arrest, man. Show me your character is intact. Don't put this about me. Show me your character is intact. Hennepin County prosecutors have secured a plea deal with one of the suspects in the mass shooting in Minneapolis punk rock concert last year that killed one person and injured 6 others. The plea deal requires Cyril Bond, 18 of Onamia, who authorizes authorities have rather called the lesser of the involved shooters, to testify against Dominic James Burris, 18 of Hinckley, who prosecutors described Tuesday as the major perpetrator of the 2023 Nudieland shooting. In a statement, Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty said Boyd has provided evidence allowing the prosecution to develop an ironclad case against Burris, who she said repeated and intentionally fired his gun into a crowd at a pop-up backyard concert in Minneapolis called Nudieland. The plea deal that we have agreed to with Mr. Boyd is critical to us pursuing the intentional murder case against Dominic Burris, who was the instigator and main perpetrator of the terrible events that occurred at Nudieland. The shooting unfolded August 11th at the DIY pop punk concert, which was hosted in a backyard of the 2200 block of 16th Avenue South. Killed in the shooting was Nicholas August Golden, 35, a musician and songwriter who is involved in the punk music scene in Minneapolis and across the country. A fundraiser has raised more than $200,000 for him. According to the charges, Burris and Boyd left the party after making advances towards a woman, getting rebuffed, flashing guns, and making derogatory remarks towards concertgoers. Gunshots erupted about a minute later from behind a fence in a neighboring yard. Both Burris and Boyd were 17 at the time and were charged in juvenile court. However, Burris's case was moved to adult court in October, as of course it should have been. According to the prosecutors, Boyd pleaded guilty to felony aiding an offender after the fact. He will be incarcerated at the State Juvenile Correction Facility in Red Wing when he turns 21. Now, I thought that juvie was good till 18. I didn't think that was till 21. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Did they change that to your knowledge? I know neither one of us are experts in, prison lineups, but
I can't say I have firsthand experience with it, but no, I'm with you. I thought that was always 18.
18, and then they go to prison at 20, and maybe that's the case. He goes to juvie till he's 21 or till he's 18, or actually he is 18. He's 18 now, so he'll be incarcerated at the State Juvenile Correction Facility. So yeah, maybe that's what it is that's as opposed to going to prison, he's going to the juvie. From 18, 19, 21, he'll return to Hennepin County District Court, where he'll be certified as an adult, plead guilty to 3 additional charges: second-degree assault, aiding and abetting first-degree assault, and aiding and abetting second-degree assault. His prison sentence for those offenses will be stayed. Boyd will be placed on probation for 5 years until the age of 26. Yeah. And, this is one of those things, how conservatives like to make the argument about that Minneapolis crime coming into our community. Funny story. This was 2 of your punks coming into our town and firing rounds into people. I don't hear you guys talking about that much. No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I probably imagine these websites that are out there that track the Minneapolis crime scene, when they, wait a second, it's 2 guys from rural. Oh, we don't need to cover that story. I see. These guys, they need to go away. I don't think 3 years in juvie is a good enough punishment for this guy. Although, once again, if it is a case where this guy fired 1 round into the ground and the other guy fired all the rounds into the human beings, I guess it makes some level of sense. But if he shot anyone, if he put a bullet into any other human being, 3 years in juvie does not seem like it is a substantial penalty. And so the question I have is, does his testimony, were you guys having trouble trying to get a prosecution on this guy, but with his testimony and the evidence he might have brought into the case, does it now give you that, as you call it, ironclad case against the shooter, Burris, that the Hinckley kid? And does it give you that ironclad case? And if that's the case, well, maybe it is worth it. But I want this guy in jail, and I don't want this guy to come out. And it just, you can't have this kind of thing. And it's, yeah, that was a tragedy. Once again, we could talk about guns. I definitely could talk about guns. We could talk about hunting. We talked about hunting earlier today with the guns. But the reality is that we've got to get more justice, and you got to clean up. It's rural Minnesota. You got to clean this stuff up, man. You got to clean this stuff up. You need to clean up your own house, man. You got your scumbag criminals coming down here and killing people in our city. Stop it. So clean up your own house and stop. Take Minneapolis, St. Paul out of your damn mouths. Native Roots Radio is coming up next. You have a good one. We are back tomorrow. Until then, see ya.
Hey, it's Freddie Bell, host of New Beginnings, designed for those of us more seasoned, I'll say, with informative talk on everything from health, finance, local and regional news, volunteerism, spirituality, and even a bit of humor tossed in. So if you're proud to be a more seasoned listener, tune in to New Beginnings Sunday afternoons at 1 right here on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, AM 950.
The Thanksgiving feast is back on at the Park Tavern. Thanksgiving Thursday, November 28th from 11 to 3, the Park Tavern has its Thanksgiving Day Buffet. Enjoy the all-you-can-eat buffet with all your Thanksgiving favorites for $25.95 per person, $18.95 for 65 and older, and kids 6 to 12. And kids 5 and under are free, and it includes an hour of free bowling. Seatings begin at 11 a.m. The last seatings are at 2 p.m., and you need to call for reservations, 952-929-6810. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Giving thanks this Thanksgiving is simple and easy with help from the Park Tavern.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President-elect Trump made a triumphant return to Washington today. Saka Magani has our report.
Welcome. Thank you. Here at the White House, an Oval Office handshake.
Donald, congratulations. Thank you.
President Biden greeting his predecessor turned successor and pledging a smooth transition.
Politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much.
Earlier on Capitol Hill,
the 47th president of the United States.
Trump got a standing ovation from House Republicans.
Isn't it nice to win? It's nice to win.
His visit here to Washington marked a stunning rebound nearly 4 years after Trump left defeated and diminished. Now he and Republicans like House Speaker Mike Johnson are celebrating.
They used to call Bill Clinton the comeback kid. This is the comeback king.
Sagar Magani at the White House.
A load of transition news. Senator Marco Rubio nominated for Secretary of State, Congressman Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, and Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democratic member of Congress, as Director of National Intelligence. Senate Republicans choosing South Dakota's John Thune as Majority Leader. In just one seat shy of a majority, House Republicans nominate Mike Johnson to return as Speaker. Meantime, President Biden will hold talks this week with China's Xi Jinping on the sidelines of an international summit in Peru. And at NATO headquarters in Brussels, Secretary of State Antony Blinken on U.S. aid to Ukraine as the Biden administration wraps up.
We've obligated just recently and pushed out the door another $8 billion in security assistance for Ukraine. That was in September. Another almost $500 million just a few weeks ago. And President Biden is committed to making sure that every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now and January 20th.
This is AP News.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Hey, it's Patrick. We're headed full speed ahead into the holiday season, so the biggest question facing your home is going to be, is it ready for the holiday season? And if you look around at your carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, and the answer is no, you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Some people hire a deal of the day carpet cleaner to save a little money, but trust shouldn't come that way. Think about it. There is no licensing required to be a professional carpet cleaner. Don't DIY it. Call Zero Res because you know it's safe and effective. The Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee makes it easy to get what you pay for. Zero Res absolutely stands behind every cleaning, so go ahead and get clean and don't miss this deal. Get back to clean and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129 and take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Call my friends at Zero Res right now at 952-ZERO-RES or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain throughout tonight with a low around 40, Thursday cloudy with a high near 49, and Friday partly sunny with a high near 52. Don't just settle for what's in the cupboard. Elevate your meals with premium oils and vinegars from Vinaigrette. They offer the finest selection of extra virgin olive oils, balsamic vinegars, fused extra virgin olive oils, white balsamic vinegars, and wine vinegars. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes or online at vinaigrettemn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous. Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by the city of Minneapolis with Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations.
Hey, we're grateful for our partnership with the city of Minneapolis, and home to one of the largest urban American Indian populations here on Turtle Island. And we have our guest host, Christine McDonald, and has another great lineup here this month. And I want to pass things over to our host for today, Christine McDonald. Welcome.
Thank you, Robert. Bonjour, Ogadaki Gabawik Nindishnika, Sajijak Nindindem. I am Christine McDonald. I'm the American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis. I'm your host today for American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio. Our first guest today is Inspector Jose Gomez with the Minneapolis Police Department. Inspector, can you tell our audience a little bit about you and what you do for the Minneapolis Police Department?
Good afternoon. Yes, thank you for having me, Christine. Bonjour, everybody. It's an honor and privilege to be the 3rd Precinct Inspector. That's my current title. And just a little bit about myself. I grew up in a small town in Nebraska. My parents are originally from Mexico. I was brought over when my mother was pregnant with me, born stateside. We went back to Mexico. I grew up there for a number of years as a child, came back here. And I kind of started looking into law enforcement as a kid. I know my parents were afraid of law enforcement just from their background. And, just knowing police like they knew back in their country, and then being here undocumented, there was always that fear of deportation. And I just remember always hiding, like even if the mailman came to the front door, we would all hide in the basement because they didn't know any better. I grew up partly in this culture in America, and I knew that they couldn't do that. So I kind of wanted to, do something to help others. And I saw law enforcement as a way of kind of helping out my community and being somebody that can help, Latino community, but all communities. And my first job was in Minneapolis. And to be honest, I had intentions of going back home because I wanted to be close to family, but I ended up falling in love with the city. I bought a house in South Minneapolis. And one of the things that really kept me, I'm a lot on Franklin, but Lake Street started booming with the Latino population back in the mid to late 90s. Mercado Central became like an incubator business for Latino families. And it just really it seems like it changed overnight, but it didn't. And it was just, I just kind of fell in love with the area. And, 30 years later, I'm still here. And, I'm glad I am. I know May of 2020 was difficult for all of us after the murder of Floyd. There was a lot of hate, just everywhere. And for the first time in my career, it was hard coming into work because it was just a different time. But I didn't want to leave that way. And I'm glad I decided to stay. And I kind of wanted to leave this place a little bit better. I mean, we'll never be perfect. I'm not perfect, but I just, I think there's work that can still be done to kind of mend relationships, work with community, and just try to recruit and rebuild this department. So, yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the major initiatives that your team is working on these days?
And before I kind of talk about that too, just I don't know if everybody's familiar with like the 3rd precinct. So that's kind of the area that we're talking about. So for the city of Minneapolis, the police department has 5 precincts. I oversee the 3rd precinct, which is South Minneapolis. It's basically crosstown to 94 on the north, and then the east and west borders are the river and 35W. It is the largest geographically precinct. It's 16 square miles. The whole city is, I think, roughly 56 square miles. And it's the largest population-wise. There's over 125,000 residents. And I tell people it's actually like the 3rd largest city in the state. So you got like Minneapolis, St. Paul. If you take 3rd precinct, it's bigger than Rochester. It's bigger than Duluth. And it's, in my opinion, I think it's the most diverse also, just with different cultures, backgrounds, ethnicities. It's just so, even now we're having a lot of recent arrivals from Ecuador, Venezuela, and a lot of them are calling 3rd precinct home, South Minneapolis. It's just always kind of been a hub for communities that are coming here. So, so for the 3rd precinct, at the precinct level, the main responsibility is 911. We respond to 911 calls, and we have 2 investigators that are sworn that work on property crimes. Property crimes are anything from, damage to auto theft, burglary, it's kind of offenses that are like that. And then there's 1 civilian investigator that assists them with those cases. So some of the, and then also we have 4 crime prevention specialists, which they are divided into different sectors. The precinct has 4 sectors. It's 10, 20, and 30 and 40 sector. They're responsible for their area. They work with block clubs. They work with neighborhoods, businesses, do security assessments. If there's issues that are going on, with a building, it might be a nuisance property. They work with other departments in the city, whether it's like reg services, CPED, licensing, to try to figure out, how to mitigate that and work on it. One of the things that we do at the precinct level too is, I know sometimes I get some questions about, and I get it's frustrating. We get frustrated also where people will tell me, do you guys even plan? Like, is there a plan? Like, when you guys show up to work, is there a plan? Do you just go out there and patrol? Like, it just seems, what are you all doing? And, there is, you got to remember we lost roughly 40% of our staffing. I mean, you do that to any organization. I mean, that's a lot. So once a week at the precinct level, we hold what we call pre-MStat. So it stands for Minneapolis Statistics. And there's a data scientist analyst that is assigned to the precinct, and we go through all data. Basically, like, what are the trends for burglaries? What are we seeing in auto thefts? Where are they? Where are our robberies? Are they going up? Are they going down? So we all sit together, and it's not just me and the data scientists. The crime prevention specialists are there. The community attorney who works for the city attorney, our embedded social worker is there, and we kind of strategize. Okay, what addresses do we need like extra patrols in? Where are we seeing certain kind of crimes where maybe the CPSs can assist in the neighborhoods. So it's very valuable doing that.
Hey, why don't we take a break? Why don't we take a break now? You're listening to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio and AM 950. We'll be right back.
Getting bus and train information in your language just got easier. Customers who call Metro Transit at 612-373-3333, again 612-373-3333, are able to select language options at the start of the call. To access information in Spanish, select option 2. For more information about other transit information tools, visit metrotransit.org/Spanish. That's metrotransit.org/Spanish.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
It's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to struggle. And it's okay to ask for help. It's important that we support one another and work together to end the stigma so that we can start to tell a different story about mental health and well-being in our community. If you're looking for support for yourself or want to find resources for a loved one, visit makeitokay.org to get started. That's makeitokay.org.
Step into the world of movement and native culture at Nimiwin, now showing at All My Relations Arts. Nimiwin is translated as Everyone Dance. This moving multimedia exhibition, curated by Josie Hoffman, delves into the connection between movement and identity, drawing inspiration from dance and powwow traditions. It showcases the work of Indigenous artists from Minnesota, emphasizing the fluidity of movement in our bodies, land, and community. Witness Nimiwin and its powerful expression on Indigenous art. On display now through January 18th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1, U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the City of Minneapolis with Minneapolis Air, American Indian Relations, and here's our guest host, Christine McDonald.
Welcome back. I'm Christine McDonald, American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis. And today our guest is Inspector Gomez with the Minneapolis Police Department, specifically in the 3rd Precinct. One of the significant reasons that I was excited to have Inspector Gomez on today is because the 3rd Precinct is actually home to the most condensed population of American Indians in any urban area. We have the Little Earth of United Housing that's in that area, as well as other residents just tend to reside in that part of our city. And one of the things that I have been really happy with in the past few years is the relationship that has grown or improved with the 3rd Precinct and specifically Inspector Gomez. So can you tell us, do you do any specific work with the Native community, what you're doing?
Thank you for the kind words, Christine. And yeah, it was, I think it'll be 3 years next February that I have been an inspector. Time flies. But I remember, when I was first asked, I think I was probably more nervous than anything. I just, it's just kind of a huge responsibility, and I didn't, I wanted to do it right. And, and you mentioned it, the precinct has one of the largest indigenous populations, and also, as one of the MDHR reports mentioned, Native Americans were disproportionately stopped by police in the city. So, there was that, the relationship with the community, and, but just kind of reflecting, I mean, we still have a lot of work to do, but it's the relationship, I think, is really kind of, there's something there, with some of the community, and just, and I feel so blessed that, that I was accepted and, given a chance to, hopefully that they trust me, to be the inspector here. And, I'm very, intentional, and, for me, I think my relationships are authentic. Kind of what you see is what you get. I'm not just I don't attend an event, or I don't meet with somebody just to check a box. I'm there because I want to listen, and I want to know what's going on, and I want to develop a relationship if that's something that somebody else wants to do with me. And, we do a lot of, kind of volunteer work with the officers. I've gotten the officers to, there's kind of 2 large marches that happen every year. There's the Native American kickoff, that happens May. And then there is the MMIW March, the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives March, that happens also. And for those, typically you apply for the street permits, closures, it's a parade route. But, officers from the 3rd Precinct, and we get assistance from Park Police, Hennepin County, and Transit. We, officers volunteer to escort and block the streets, make sure everybody's safe. And, one of the things that I noticed kind of going into the 2nd year, we were working with AIM and Many Shields. So AIM, American Indian Movement, and Many Shields, it's just a local nonprofit here on Franklin. But it was just kind of cool. We were all working together, blocking streets, kind of leading the route. And if you know anything about the American Indian Movement, I mean, they were started because of discrimination and police brutality, a long time ago, the 70s, maybe, if I remember right. So here we are working alongside of them, and partnering with them. And I remember, can't remember who it was, but they made a comment like they never thought they'd see the day that, Minneapolis police and AIM are working together. And that kind of stuck with me. That means a lot. And actually, I sometimes when they go out to do those, I'll wear my movement hat when I'm out there with the parades or at events. So so it's just been very intentional with those relationships. I always I have office hours at the Minneapolis American Indian Center. The director has been gracious enough to allow me to use some of that space. And I've developed great relationships there. A lot of meetings with Little Earth, the LIRA board, Little Earth Residents Association. They're having some challenges with some crime issues. Kia Boys, everybody's kind of heard of them. They've been around that area. And then another volunteer group that I have a relationship with some of the members, and we communicate quite a bit when, unfortunately, there's some incidents that happen, and that's the Little Earth Protectors. They're totally voluntary. They're out there at night, doing great work. And sometimes there's things going on, and we kind of need to communicate to pass on information, and maybe they have something that can help us. Maybe I have something that can help them, keep them safe if I know of anything. And then I mentioned our pre-MSTAT a little bit ago. Chief O'Hara has public MSTATs. I think it's like every other month almost. I've hosted one at the American Indian Center. That was probably in September, if I remember right. It was a great event. I had Manny Shields do the drumming for the beginning. I think, Christine, you did the smudging. Yep. So yeah, we're working with these relationships. I know in the past we used to have, it was called the Police Athletic League. And that is the 501c3. Prior to May of 2020, it was a unit of, I think it was 4 officers, but 2 of them were on the south side. Some listeners may remember as Officer Cheryl Goodman and Officer Colleen Zombie. They had a girls mentorship group, and they also had like volleyball, girls volleyball that they do. And I mean, that was great. I remember them with the girls planning trips. They take them to powwows. They went to like a national powwow in New Mexico one year. They'd help them with homework. And that kind of went away after, I mentioned that we lost almost 40% of our staffing. But they brought back a pilot program in North Minneapolis. And I'm hoping that at some point we can get something going again and call it like Southside PAL, and maybe specific to Little Earth area, South Minneapolis, and start getting the officers so they can connect with these kids when they're younger. And it's challenging. Just being a kid is challenging nowadays. And just having an officer there, being active, being a good role model. Hopefully that can come back to the South Side. I also attend both. I attend 2 MUD meetings. The public safety MUD, which is Mary Lagarde chairs, and then the opioid and unsheltered MUD meeting, which I think Robert Lilligren is the chair of that one. So very active in those. I attend almost every meeting. We have great discussions, bring them updates of what's going on as far as public safety, what I'm seeing in the neighborhood, and just try to help out the community any way we can.
So can you tell us how people can stay informed about safety in their community?
Yeah, the police department, we have a very good dashboard. You can go, I guess I would, if you have Google search engine, you can just put in Minneapolis crime statistics. It'll shoot you to the site, but it's easy to navigate. It might be a little intimidating. There's a lot of information on there, but you can go by like ward, by neighborhood, filter dates, and it'll tell you, what the crime stats are in your neighborhood. Like, are your burglaries going up, down? What are they from last year? What are they the last 28-day period? And we kind of use the same one. It's a little more in depth of what we use, but the dashboard is a great place to go. Another one I would recommend is to get public safety alerts. So you could go in your Google search engine, put Minneapolis public safety alert information, and it'll send you to the city site where you can put in your email, and you'll get anytime there's some type of incident that happens in a neighborhood, and we put out a press release, you'll get an email about it. You can choose text, email, but that's a good way of staying connected. If you want to get involved and be like a block club leader, you could also just go on the sites and contact the local crime prevention specialist. And it's good to know your neighbors. That's huge. Be connected, and you see something, or if we don't hear about it, it didn't happen.
Great. Inspector, I really want to thank you for joining us today. I also want to give you your flowers while I have the opportunity. It is a pleasure working with you in the 3rd precinct. I am happy to say I've been in meetings where you haven't been, and your name has been brought up in a great positive way, talking about your relationship with the community and your availability and how accessible you are. It means a lot to people. So thank you, and I enjoyed having you on today.
We'll be right back. This is Minneapolis Air on AM 950, Native Roots Radio.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Thinking about college? Consider checking out Minnesota Private Colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
It's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to struggle. And it's okay to ask for help. It's important that we support one another and work together to end the stigma so that we can start to tell a different story about mental health and well-being in our community. If you're looking for support for yourself or want to find resources for a loved one, visit makeitokay.org to get started. That's makeitokay.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Tom Hartman here to tell you about St. Paul-based All Energy Solar. They've been providing solar energy solutions to customers since 2009. All Energy Solar's professionals will help you through the entire process, from a free site assessment to a custom design that works for your property. Now is the time to go solar. Make a powerful investment by switching to solar energy by visiting allenergysolar.com for your solar quote. That's allenergysolar.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
It's been a while since I explained this, but a Toyota from Rudy Luther Toyota will always be in my driveway. 2 years ago, a drunk driver slammed into my Toyota Sienna. In most vehicles, I wouldn't be here today, but my Toyota Sienna kept me safe. It was designed for safety, something I saw firsthand. I have no problem telling you, if you want a vehicle that will keep you and your family safe on the road, Toyota is the way to go. I'm partial to the Sienna, but all their vehicles are fantastic. Be safe, own a Toyota. Shop today at rudyluthertoyota.com or visit Rudy Luther Toyota on the corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain throughout tonight with a low around 40, Thursday cloudy with a high near 49, and Friday partly sunny with a high near 52. Tired of ordinary? Elevate your culinary experience with Vinaigrette's premium oils and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to balsamic vinegars, they've been perfecting the art since 2009. A family-owned gem at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis. Visit vinaigrettemn.com for a taste of excellence.
It's the time.
I'm Lieutenant Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the City of Minneapolis with Minneapolis Air, American Indian Relations, and here's our guest host, Christine McDonald.
Welcome back. I'm Christine McDonald. I'm the American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis. Our next guest joins us from the city's Health Department. It is Heidi Ritchie, who is the city's Deputy Health Commissioner, and she'll be speaking about how the City of Minneapolis Health Department is working to bridge healthcare access gaps and reduce barriers in underserved communities, including their new mobile medical unit. Heidi, can you tell us about yourself and what you do as the Deputy Health Commissioner?
Miigwech, Christine, Buju, everybody. Heidi Ritchie, I'm the Deputy Commissioner of Health for the City of Minneapolis. I'm so pleased to be here today. I was born and raised in Minneapolis, and so it really is a passion and commitment that I have to the residents and folks that live and play and work in the city of Minneapolis. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also a global and public health nurse. I've worked for the city for 19 years. The past few have been in the health department, so I've been here since 2022. Prior to serving as interim commissioner in the health department and then deputy commissioner in the health department, I served as the mayor's policy and budget director. And so I held my portfolio that included public health, climate and sustainability, opioid response, homeless response, violence prevention. So those are some of the few topics that I worked on before coming to the health department. In the health department, I'm the current deputy commissioner of public health initiatives and operations. So some of the less sexy things I do are contracts and permits and administration. And then some of the other issues that I work on that more people know a little bit about is maternal, child, and adolescent health, epidemiology, research and evaluation. So lots of work around the pandemic and COVID. Emergency preparedness, our school-based clinic programs, and then of course our opioid response.
So how is the city working to help people struggling with addictions and their families?
Thank you, Christine. That's a really good question. I think one of the things I have to say first is that most of us have either an immediate family member or someone close to us that we know that struggles with substance use and addiction. Lots of times those challenges are met with systemic barriers. And so one of the things we're really trying to do is look at some of those barriers, those challenges, and then also some of the gaps we see in service and fill in those spaces. There's a lot of people working on these issues, the county, the state, the city, lots of nonprofits. And so we want to make sure that we're coordinating our efforts so that we can work with folks to maximize the amount of investment and the resources, because this problem is way too big for any one entity to handle. We have to all work together.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us what type of services the mobile medical unit is going to offer?
That's kind of the main event for me being here today. Just a week ago or so, we had a press conference where we unveiled our new mobile medical unit. This thing is gigantic. It has a dental chair. It's got an ADA lift. There is private rooms so that we can do assessments where people can feel comfortable to share the things that providers need to know in order to effectively and efficiently provide care for folks. Really what we were trying to do is, again, as I mentioned, fill gaps and meet the needs of underserved communities. And so I have to give props to our opioid response team led by Suzanne Murphy, who's the project manager for that team. They've been working on this project for the better part of a year. And so I know they're very excited to get this on the ground. We've got a lot of work to do to do some planning around it, some hiring of staff. But we will have things like increased access to treatment. We're trying to promote long-term recovery, and we want to expand the access and delivery of medications for opioid use disorder. Some of the other services we'll have in the mobile medical unit include basic health screenings, so blood pressure, blood glucose, cholesterol, any type of medication consultation, or medication review, wound care, vaccinations, mental health counseling and referrals, youth health services, including physical exams, dental exams, and welfare checks, wellness checks. Then we'll also, as I mentioned, have medications for opioid use disorder. And we want to make sure that if we don't have what can be provided to folks, we can have a handoff, hopefully a warm handoff for any type of referral services to housing, jobs, education, things like that.
Are those services at a cost to those who are receiving them, or is it billed, or is it free?
They are no cost services to folks. If there is an insurance, if folks have insurance, we will take that and we will attempt to bill the insurance company so we can get some patient revenue. Any type of patient revenue we have will go back into the program. And so we will explore that as an option, but these are no cost services to the people of Minneapolis.